Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. This is Jonna with Purple Girl Crafts. This is today's card, so let's get started. So the first thing we're going to need is our scoreboard. And our first piece of paper, it is going to be cut at 11 inches by 7 inches. And then on the 11-inch side, we are going to score this at 5, 6, and 7. So those are the 3 score marks you should have. We'll put that aside, and then we're going to start with our pieces. So the first piece is 3 3/4 by 6 3/4. And then you will need 2 pieces if you're using patterned paper at 3 1/2 by 6 1/2. Then we're going to need 1 piece, and this is cut at 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. And then we'll need 1 piece cut at 1 by 3 1/4. And we are going to score this at 1/2, 1 1/4, and 2 1/2. So we'll set that aside. Then we need 1 piece, and this is cut at 1/2 by 1. And if you weren't comfortable with that piece, you could cut just 1 piece that is 1/2 by 12 inches because you can use that piece also. Depends on how you're going to do the mechanism of the card. All right, so we're done with our scoreboard, so we'll move that. We're going to start with the assembly of the card. We will start with the base of the card, and we're going to make a cut on this card. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our card, and on the first 5-inch mark, we are going to put just a little mark so you can see that, and I'm going to cut diagonally from that first mark down to the corner of the card. I know you can't see it on the trimmer, but just line up your 2 edges and then just cut that. So you'll get that diagonal piece. I'm going to erase that mark that we made just so it doesn't show on the card. Okay, so those are the pieces that you're going to need that you cut. But before we continue with the base of the card, I'm going to grab the piece of black cardstock that we cut, and we're going to cut this at diagonal also. So this doesn't matter which way you cut it, but again, you want to line up your top and your bottom from one corner to the other and just cut this piece. I like to start in the middle just so that it doesn't rip the end of the paper. So you'll need 2 pieces of this black cardstock because it's going to turn it and you're going to have it turned that way. Now for the patterned paper, if you're using patterned paper, you're going to have 2 pieces the same so that when you line it up, it will match up. So let me grab both of those. So in one piece, you're going to cut from the left to the right. So again, you want to put this on your scoreboard, line up the top and the bottom in the track. Don't start at the very end so you don't rip your paper, and then just cut this through. So you'll have 2 pieces. So just like that. So this piece will not work on there because the direction is wrong. So then the second piece, you're going to cut it from the right down to the bottom left corner. So you can just do the exact opposite. So we're going to cut from here down to the corner, making sure your 2 edges are lined up, and then just cut it. So then this piece will fit right in there. So those are for the top part of the card. Okay, so we're going to move our trimmer out of the way because we don't need that for right now. So we are going to go back to the main section of the card. So we're going to fold these score marks out that we did. We're going to start at the 7-inch mark, and we're going to fold that one in half. Then we're going to take the center fold that we did, and we're going to fold that back away from the card. Crease that out. And then we'll fold that last fold back in so it's facing the front of the card. Okay, now we're going to work on the inside of the card. So we're going to take that pink piece, but I'm going to add a black piece behind it, and that piece is going to be 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. I like the way it makes the pink paper pop, So I decided to add it. Your piece of paper, the pink, is cut to the right dimensions, 4.5 by 6.5. Then we will take these pieces and we will glue those down on top of the card. But first we're going to start with the center of the card, this back piece. So I'm just going to glue the black down first, and then I'm going to glue the pink on top of that. Now for the next piece, what we're going to do is we need to add this piece of white to the card. So it's going to line up so the straight edge is against the card and it'll sit just like I'm showing you here. You can decorate it before you glue it down or after you glue it down. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going to glue this one down first. So it's just going to sit like that, and then I'll do the other one. So again, I'm just going to grab my glue just so I have a little bit of wiggle room just in case I don't get these even, and then glue these down. And then when you glue this piece down, you're going to want to make sure again that the straight edge is lined up with the card and that it is lined up with the top and the bottom. And then you're just going to glue that down. So I'm just going to put glue just on that one side, again making sure it's lined up with the card, and then just lay it down. So this is what you should have so far. Now we are going to end up gluing this down further. Now for the next piece, I'm just going to open the card up just so it'll lay a little bit better, and then we need to glue these down. This time I'm just going to glue these to the card itself, and this will be glued to the top white piece. And then I'll glue the pattern paper on next. It's a little bit harder to glue it once you have it on the card, so it's probably best if you glue it before you secure it to the card. Then I'm going to take this, so this is what we have so far, but I want this to stay kind of closed. So I'm going to glue this piece down just in this one section, just so that this piece stays secure together. So I'm just going to glue from here. I'm just going to put glue on this side of the card. And then all the way down, just so that it'll stay down. It's always good just to double check, make sure everything's glued down. Go ahead and crease out your folds again one more time. Just make sure everything is lined up. So that is the basic assembly of the card. So now we're going to work on the center piece. So this is a piece I've done before. So we're going to take this piece and we're just going to go ahead and fold all of those score marks and then crease them out. And you want to do it to all three of them. As we fold this, you want to make sure that the 1/2 inch mark is on the right hand side, and you're going to fold it to that first or that second score mark. Then you're going to fold this down so it lines up with the 3rd score mark that you made. And then you want to fold that down and then crease it out. Turn it over and fold it the other way. And then again, crease it out. Just make sure it's lined up. And then crease it out. And this is what you should end up. So you're going to push that piece backwards, and then the piece will end up being like this. So this is what you should end up with. So we're going to adhere this to the card, and we want this to be right in the center. So I'm just going to eyeball it and make sure it's in the center with that point. I'm going to put glue just on that larger last flap. I'm going to line it up so it's at the edge of the card, in the middle, and then just secure it down. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to fold this in half so that you've got that angled piece, and then it's folded down in half. So again, just take it, let it fold in, and then just fold it on itself and lay flat. Then you're going to put glue just on that last small flap. And then you just want to take the card and close it on itself and then just secure that down. So this is what you should end up with. Now you can open this all the way, kind of flatten this out, and then make sure your crease marks are, again, just press those out. So this is what you should end up with. Now for that little tiny piece, this is the piece that we're going to glue onto the mechanism. Or you can use a longer piece. Either one, it doesn't matter. So I'm actually going to work with a longer piece just to show you. It's a little bit easier to show you. So when this turns, you want to make sure it's not sticking out of the top of the card. So right now I know I can't go past this mark, but then when I turn it, you can see I even have a smaller area. So I'm actually going to put a pencil mark right on that edge, and then I'm going to cut that off because I don't want it to go any further. That's my starting point. I will probably end up cutting it smaller, but that's where I'm going to start. So I'm just going to snip off that extra piece, and then we're going to adhere this to the card. The easiest way is to make sure that it is laying straight when you do it. If you have it at an angle, it won't lay straight. So you're going to glue it to the piece of the card. I'm going to grab my glue and I'm going to show you just a little pop-up. This is where you're going to put glue. So just where I have purple up on the top little image on the top of the screen. That's the only place you want to put glue. And then again, when you lay this down, if you lay it flat, this is how the arm is going to extend if the card is all the way open. And then just go ahead and just press that down, make sure it's glued in. Now you'll see that you want it to stay inside the card and then it'll pop out. Now for this card, you could put a piece to cover the mechanism, but my little guy here is going to sit on it, so I'm not going to worry about it. I am cutting the arm just a little bit shorter because it's too long. Then for the center of the card for the arm, I just cut a piece of paper, a black piece of paper, and I'm just going to adhere that to this arm. Now this, you could add anything to your drop down arm. You just want to make sure it's not too heavy, and this does measure out to be 3 1/4 by 1 inch. So I'm just going to put that on there because again, I don't want it to stick out the top of the card and the bottom of the card. So now you could put a piece to hide the mechanism on the card, but I'm just going to use a white piece of paper and I'm just going to put that on top of this piece. I'm going to put the Just For You stamp on the very front, I think. My little crocodile alligator is going to sit on the front, and when the card pops out, I'm going to put this little piece of white just on top of there. So I'm going to glue that down because that looks pretty good from where it's sitting and where it pops out. So I'm just going to glue this piece down. And this piece is 3 1/2 by 3/4 inches. So it looks pretty good. And then we're going to stamp Just For You on the card, just on the top in the center. You could make this a birthday card. You could have balloons coming out of it. You could do Christmas. There's just so many possibilities. So I'm just using a stamp block to stamp this. And I'm just using my VersaFine ink. So I'm just going to get that ink on there, and then I'm just going to go ahead and just push that down. Let's move that out of the way. Again, so he's going to sit, and he's going to sit over the edge a little bit, so he's going to hide some of the mechanism on the inside. So now I have grabbed a heart punch. This is a Martha Stewart heart punch from years and years ago, but it punches out like 8 or 9 hearts at a time. And I'm going to use that to decorate the card. So I'm going to put 1 heart just on the very edge of the banner or the pop out. And then I'm just putting a bunch of little hearts just all around this. I put a little heart in my little guy's hand so that he looks like he's holding a heart and he's lined up. And I'm just kind of measuring to see where I'm going to put glue because I don't want him glue to go over the edge of the card. So we'll just glue him down. So he's in the center and right over that mechanism. And then I decided to go ahead and do some white hearts also because the other ones didn't show up very good because of the pattern paper. And I'm just going to put some more hearts just around it just to give it some more embellishment. And that is it. That is the card that we made today. I want to thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. There'll be more fun videos coming. I do this just to share, inspiration for you, and I hope you enjoy them. Have a great day. See you real soon. Bye-bye.